Hi all, this side Rajesh Gopinath. This is my second video from the series Basic Photography for my counterparts. When I mean to say counterparts, it is actors, actresses, models, hair artists, makeup artists, stylists, and all those who work in the entire ecosystem of the entertainment industry. Thank you so much for watching my first video about soft lights and harsh lights. Just to go back and give you a quick recap on what we were discussing in the previous video, we were discussing about the quality of light, which was soft light and harsh lights. So in a photograph, when you see the transition from the highlights to shadows is very soft, smooth, even and fluttering, that is soft lit photography. And when a photography where you notice the transition from highlight to shadows are very harsh, steep and very strong, that is harsh lit photography. Now, for a quick recap and a quick recollect for the previous episode, so I'm just giving the same examples about the harsh light and soft light with a small narration. If you can see this example, you can see the transition from highlight to shadows is very soft, very natural, very even and very gradual. And in this case of harsh light, you can see the transition from highlight to shadows are very steep and very harsh, and that's why it makes very clear definitions of the photographs. And let's move on to the next topic, how the photographer creates harsh light and soft light. There are two factors in photography which decides whether the photograph will be soft lit or the photograph will be harsh lit. And the two factors are the size of the light source and the distance of the light source. First, let us discuss about the size of the light source. Let me put a small question to you. So, what do you think? Will a larger light source create a harsher light, or the smaller light source create a softer light? So, let me explain. When I talk about the size of the light source, on a broader sense, I can put it this way. The larger the light source, the softer the light. The smaller the light source, harsher the light. When I say this, there is an inbuilt statement which says in relation to the subject. Now let me put the statement in a different way. The larger the light source in relation to the subject, the softer the light, and the smaller the light source in relation to the subject, the harsher the light. So I'll explain the term in relation to. That will give the entire picture very clear in front of you. So when we shoot inside a studio, you might have seen the softbox like Octa. Octa is basically a softbox which have 8 corners, and that is the precise reason why it is called an Octa. When we are shooting with an Octa as a softbox, the size of the Octa will be around 4 to 5 to 6 feet. And if a photographer is shooting a mid-size or a headshot of a model, what could be the approximate size in terms of feet when it is a mid-size? It can be approximately 3 feet. So now the subject is 3 feet and the light source is of 6 feet or 5 feet or 4 feet, which means a 4 feet octa or a 5 feet octa or a 6 feet octa will be much bigger than the 3 feet subject. I'll put another example where this theory will make more clarity inside you. You are shooting outdoor. So what is the light source? Sun. So how big is the sun? It's huge. Probably it is the largest light source across the solar system. There is no doubt about it. So as per the theory, larger the light source, softer the light. So the sun should always give soft light. But why sun is giving harsh light in the mid noon? The subject is 3 feet. And what is the size of sun? Here comes the word in relation to. What is the size of the sun in relation to the subject? Just put your hand towards the sun and just measure how much centimeters, how much inches are required to cover the entire sun. It can be 2 centimeters, 3 centimeter, or maybe 2 to 3 inches. So what does that mean? The sun is just 2 to 3 centimeter in relation to the subject of 3 feet. So now the sun is much smaller, and that is the reason why sun creates a very harsh light when we are shooting outdoor. Make sense? So let's quickly recap what did we learn now. So the larger the light source in relation to the subject, the light will be softer. The smaller the light source in relation to the subject, the light will be harsh. So let's move on to the second point, the distance between the subject and the model. What do you think? The lesser the distance between the subject and the light source, will the light be softer or harsher? The answer is the lesser the distance between the light source and the subject, the softer the light will be. In other words, if the distance between the subject and model is too much, that light source will create harsh lights. So let us go back to the same example of Octa and Sun. So let's start with Octa. You might have seen the photographer might be pushing the softbox, pushing the Octa very close to the model. Why? He is creating a much softer light by reducing the distance between the light and the light source. And now it's obvious for you, and you might be very clear about why the sun is creating harsh light in the noontime. The more the distance between the light source and the subject, the harsher the light. So now let us reiterate the learning. The closer the subject is from the light source, the softer the light. The farther the light source is from the subject, the harsher the light. If you have ever noticed a studio light without a soft box, you can see there is a filament, there is a coil, and there is a kind of a bulb, which normally we call as a bare bulb. And why the photographer have to attach the soft box in front of the bare bulb? The answer is, so the bare bulb is a very small light source. So when the photographer is attaching a softbox which is square, which is round, which is octa or whatever the shape, so he is trying to gather all the light which is emitted from a smaller light source, which is restricted into a reflective surface which is inside the softbox, and he is trying to create a larger space of light which is coming out. In a way, he is trying to create a larger light source. When you go for an event like a wedding or any other events, you might have seen the photographers having a flash unit or a speed light on top of the camera. If you have noticed, the photographer normally doesn't fire that flash directly on a face. He will always point the flash either to the ceiling or to a wall or somewhere else. Why? Have you ever thought why? The answer is, typically the flash or the speed light is a very small light source and which creates a very harsh light, and which will not look good in any photograph because the light is very harsh. So instead of that, when he is firing the small unit to a ceiling or something which is a larger space, larger area, so the light will go there, hit there, bounce back and come back to the subject. When it bounces and come back to the subject, the relative area of the light source is much larger than the speed light. So the photographer will definitely get a very soft, flattering, smooth light. So yes, I think most of you might have got a clear understanding and idea about how the photographer is creating soft light and harsh light. Thank you for watching this video. The way you supported me on my last video, please do like this video, share this video, subscribe my channel. And as we all are staying at home, please take care. Thank you so much.